Hello, hello, hello out there. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. I am Jeff TechP, and this is week 2 of the podcast stable. As you can imagine, for those who know me, you could probably say, look here. Today we are joined by our first co-host. Just to give a little bit of background, last week I described and talked about how the community of One2Gration, I'm the CEO and founder, and the podcast stable is a place for TechP to come and talk with those who care to contribute and collaborate about the lighter side of life. Today, we are joined by my first, but I will let him give his own introduction.
Well, my name is Cameron, last name McKinney. Also go by Cam Era, HBK, Heartbreak Cam. I got a new moniker, whatever I feel like it. So, but today it's just gonna be Cam joining, connoisseur, expert at all of the major sports besides baseball. So, if you got a question, I got the answer.
If you got a question, he got the answer. Hey, listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But before, I should say this. I'll set it up this way. Growing up, so I'll just make it clear. Cameron is my oldest son. Maybe you could see a resemblance. I do. Most people do. And growing up, he used to stick it deep and twist it, and he would always say something unfavorable and something unsavory about America's team. Over the last few years,
Not few.
how many has it been?
This is the second year.
This is the second year.
Yeah.
And a few would be how many years?
3.
Okay. So
And
2
this is
years.
the start of the second year.
This is the start of the second year. He has come over and realized that he was born into a situation where he had a team.
Time out.
Hold on. Listen. We're not gonna look back. We're not gonna look back. We're gonna.
Well, I just want to clarify.
Okay.
Here's the difference. See, you were born with the team. You're the fan. You're the fanatic. Die hard. I am a believer. The same way that Colorado, Deion asked if they believe. I believe because Deion was there and what they brought in, and I believe because of what Jerry Jones got there and what Dak Prescott's going to do and what Michael Parsons going to do. Now, it's the star and all the uniform, all that stuff looks good too. But without those people in there, I'm not a believer. So
neither am I. I don't blindly believe in them anyway. But either. But what I'm saying when I say you're born in, everyone out there is born with a built-in team. It is because they are an American, and this is America's team. And so with that being said, this is where we're going to start this episode. We got to go here. I believe this is a great piece that speaks to how I feel in this moment about the star.
I'm still them boys. I'm still
40 burger.
Somebody tell them I'm still them boys. I'm still in
Shout out to whoever Lover Boy VO is. I think I should follow him just because he is bringing the heat
Crazy
and
vocals.
bringing the emotion as it relates. And I think it's very, very, very timely considering that 40 burger when Dallas did Danny Dimes. What did you think about that victory, Cameron? Young Camera.
Um, I saw it. I told everyone leading up to the game, a lot of people wanted to pick the Giants because they got a new tight end and their quarterback got paid and their running back has something to prove, and they just want to hate. And I see past the hate. You know, I see past all of that. I look at the matchups. I look at the teams. I look at the personnel, the coaching. I saw this coming. I said they were going to drop 40. Now I thought they would score at least 10. You know, I thought they would score at least 10, but am I surprised they didn't score any? Mm, Not really. So we did what we were supposed to do. Defense dominated. Offense did what they were supposed to do, not doing too much, you know, thankfully. So now, week two, we're about to go back and, do it again. So, what did you think about the game?
I tell you that that first opening drive, they did have some success. Danny Dimes, without dropping a single dime, he ran and used his legs, and I said, "That's not gonna work all game. That's not gonna work." And then when I saw creeping into that second drive, our special teams and in the way that our defense was flying around, and without our offense having an overly spectacular game. But what I saw, I said, this team, if they averaged 24 points a game, would be a serious Super Bowl contender. And do I think we have the offensive weapons to do so? The offensive weaponry? I believe we do. And so, you know how I feel about America's quarterback, Dak Prescott, Dakota Prescott. I believe that he's overcome so much
Man,
that to stand on that field and play this game is something that is somewhat of a relief for him. It's a place to escape to, and we'll see that this year. Uh, he doesn't have to do too much. He also has a new offensive coordinator that will have a certain maturity and command uh, that Dak will respect, and those two will collaborate to get the very best out of the resources that we have. I felt really good about what I saw, and I feel really good going into this weekend. I will say that I've seen Aaron Rodgers do some things to us in the past, and I was really looking forward to being able to see what he could do against this defense in a new uniform. However, we won't be seeing that. We'll be seeing, what's the kid's name?
Zach Wilson,
Zach Wilson. And this is the same guy that their
Jamon.
head coach, what's his name, Robert Saleh.
Yeah,
He decided that he wanted to throw him away in the middle of last season, and he tossed Zach out with the bathwater. And now for him, he's got to figure out how to get the best out of Zach, who, when you think about a young kid and an impressionable mind, I don't believe that he made good decisions as it relates to the overall mental health of the kid, going into how he treated him and discarding him, and spoke very public about his disdain for Zach's lack of growth and abilities. And so now they're riding into week two against the doomsday, as Michael Parsons said, and we're going to have a beautiful time. That's how I feel about it.
I
That's how
agree
I
with
feel
most
about
of your sentiment. The last part, though, I think actually would help Zach Wilson. He came in number two pick. You know, from what that tells you is that the franchise is going to be handed to you. You got leeway, and it was taken away from him. And they brought in a new quarterback, a legend, to take over. They're trying to find trade suitors to take him, but it's if anything, it should be a wake up call to him. I think he played as good as he could last week without like any prep time. Uh, you know, he
Without
did
any
an
prep time, he
okay
played the
job.
majority of the preseason. He played the
He
majority of the
played the
preseason stat.
preseason, but he didn't take a lot of reps with the first team. Like
He
that,
took all the reps with the preseason. Did Aaron
no,
Rodgers
with
even
the
play in the
preseason.
preseason?
But I'm talking about like first team reps in practice. Having them out there for more than a quarter. I mean, really a series. The first team is playing for a series in the preseason these days. So he did about as well as I expected Zach Wilson at his best to do last week. Now, can he do that again this week against the number one defense in the NFL? I don't think he will be. I think he will be better than Danny Dimes. I do.
Wow.
I
Wow,
think he'll be better
You
than Danny
believe he will
Dimes.
be better than that? Danny Dimes just got paid in New York with the Giants.
Right, but they would have
Danny
paid Zach
Dimes.
Wilson too.
You said what?
So they probably would have paid Zach Wilson too. I mean,
Oh, so it's a shot at the Giants in their front office.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Well, I don't believe that in 6 months of working alongside of Aaron Rodgers, who has a history of not wanting to develop the players behind him, that this kid, Zach Wilson, got all that much better. And so he may have come in last week and did a reputable job. He took more snaps in the preseason than our quarterback, America's quarterback, Dakota Prescott did. And so, that's not an excuse that I'm going to uh, uh, put much weight into. I know that this week he's probably having nightmares. He's probably having nightmares, and I like to go ahead and tell the New York Jets coaching staff that when this thing gets out of hand, think about preserving young Zach.
They have to.
Think about preserving it. Well, the New York Giants didn't think about preserving Danny Dimes. They
Well,
left him in there, and Micah Parsons said, "Shame on
here's
you."
here's the difference between that. The Giants actually have backup quarterbacks. After Zach Wilson, I don't think they have another quarterback on the roster right now. So
They got to have one.
from what I from what I heard, I haven't fully looked into it, but I know for sure they if they have one, that's it. One other. So if
Yeah,
Zach gets hurt, it's just the backup. But I don't think they even have another one after Zach Wilson.
they
But I
may
would have
not
to
yet.
go and
They
double check
will.
that.
They'll go get
Oh yeah,
Flacco.
they're
It's
gonna
been
pick up one this week, but
yeah,
even
yeah,
then, they have to protect Zach Wilson if it's a blowout because just one blowout is not going to destroy their season. They still, even last year, benching him midway through the season, they had a chance to get into the playoffs. So, and they still will have a chance to get into the playoffs this year, I think.
to the New York Jets fans. I don't know what to say. It's a misfortune. Uh, I believe that you guys have seen these types of things before, having to figure out how to pull the scraps together. And we wish you the best in week 3. But for week 2, for week 2, it's the star. It's the
Very good.
star. It's America's team. I know we said we was gonna make it short for this particular
We
V1
got time.
version
We got a
of
little bit.
what was that again?
We got about extra 10 minutes of time, but
We got about an extra 10 minutes of time. All right, well, let's move on to something that is personal. It's personal. It's personal. What? Well, I don't even know this guy's name. Let's just call him coach of the Colorado State University. Are they the Rams? I believe.
maybe
What? Don't know. What was he thinking? Why make a statement about anything going on over there? I believe he said that he was taught to remove his hat and his shades when he was talking to an adult. Why make that statement on this week? What did you think about that?
um, that's a lot to think about. But I don't want to speculate too much about like why. I'm gonna just talk about the actual impact that it's gonna have. He's setting his team up. I don't know what Colorado State's record is, but I know that Colorado last year was 1-11, and their one win came against Colorado State. So If you lost against that team where Deion transferred everybody out, and now they got Shedeur Sanders, they got Travis Hunter, they got the Edwards kid out of the backfield. I don't know if you had a turnaround that can match that. It's going to be a bad day for them. I mean, I guess he was trying to psych them up. That's the the vanilla version I'll go with, but you then psyched up the other side to a whole different level. And the way that the Shadura kid throws the ball, man, it's gonna be bombs away. It's gonna be bombs away. Saturday, what they play at noon? Yeah, whew, it's gonna be a
Is
long
it a new
noon.
game?
It might be. I think it's a
Is it
noon game. It's gonna be a long noon.
it's a new game. I didn't really do too much research on it. I don't even know if the game is going to be televised nationally. I would imagine that as we get into
Has to be.
year 2 and 3 of Deion in Colorado, that a lot of those games, especially moving into the Big 12 here in Texas, we'll get a chance to see those games. And so I don't know if I'll be able to see it. I'd like to be able to see it, but I will be paying attention to it, and we will have follow up to touch on the outcome here. I believe that the Colorado Buffaloes are going to put 60 on them. I believe they're gonna put 60 on them because it's personal. And Deion's gonna send a message. He's gonna send a message. And I'm going on record right now and saying that Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes are gonna have the #1 recruiting class this year. And when you mix that with having the best of what you choose in recruiting, and also the best of those players coming out of portal with a chip on their shoulder because it just didn't work out where they came from, moving into a Power 5. And I would probably say, if I'm thinking about the easiest path to get into the college football championship every year, is probably through the Big 12. With the exit of Texas and Oklahoma, I think Deion's sitting pretty. I think he's sitting pretty. And tomorrow's an opportunity to put on that hat, that hoodie, that big fat gold rope with the Jesus piece, those lokes, those shades, which I just saw earlier. I think he gave everybody on the team a pair of them. So what a amazing opportunity for whoever that sunglass manufacturer is. I love sunglasses. I probably got 80 pair of frames. I believe that the Colorado Buffaloes are going to do well. Shout out to Lady Jordan, Colorado basketball alum, played in the Final Four. My family, my aunt, played against Cheryl Swoops, the great Cheryl Swoops, in the Final Four back in around 93, something like that. Um, I can remember her coming off the bench and being a 6 foot shooting guard in the black and gold playing in the Final Four. So shout out to her, and I am so excited. Last week we had Colorado, Nebraska, a great game. And then you also saw Miami take out the Aggies, which, if you're thinking about the earlier stage, 1990s college football, which you were not around, uh, that reminded me of the era. Now you do have lineage to an Orange Bowl MVP that played for the Big Red Machine. And so we'd like to see Nebraska get back to a place where Mr. Cody can have something to pound his chest about. But right now
You
he's
know,
just
they can pound their chest about volleyball right now.
don't do him too bad.
No,
Don't do Unk too bad now. Don't do Unk too bad.
yeah, I'm not hating on Nebraska, man. Right now, it's not looking too great. But before we get off the topic of Dion, I do want to address the actual comment about the shades and the taking off the hat and all that type of stuff. The thing that I find wrong with that, just off the rip is that this is an entertainment business. Like at the end of the day, this is entertainment. I do not watch college football like that personally. It's not really for me. But since Deion has came in, every sport has had a moment for me that has brought me to it because of something great happening or greatness or a player being great, for whether that was, Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant or, in football, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. And for college football, the Deion persona is something that was much needed. And they're even like competing with the NFL as far as Buffalo.
Yeah.
That news story is something to tune into. So that is probably why you gotta have some swag sometimes. Like, you know, Dion
Hey,
brought
Deion.
the swag. He hating on the swag. It is what it is.
Hey, I'll add on to that. This is two bits that echoes what you're saying. The weekend before last, my wife Cameron was in Miami celebrating my niece's birthday, and that was week 1 of college football. Around about 3 o'clock or whatever time it was, just after Deion and the Buffaloes had just upset TCU, I get a phone call and she's back in her room and she sounds exhausted and she says, "Oh, we just came from brunch and oh, we had a great time." And I said, "Oh, really? What did you guys do?" And she said, "The Colorado TCU game was on and it was so exciting. Colorado won." I was like, "What?" She doesn't ever watch any football, not even America's team. This is such an anomaly. Fast forward a week. Last week, I go down the street. Another one of our contributors that'll be joining us soon, Jamal Broden, amazing personality. Many of you know him. I was down the street on his back patio watching that game, but he had midways through the third quarter had to leave for his sons. He coaches his sons' football team, flag football team, the Oilers. And so I walk back up the street, walk into the house. It's quiet in here. The kids are kind of in their corner. Um, the wife must be taking a nap. I walk into the room. She is lying in the bed under the cover. And guess what's on the television? The Colorado game. And that's when I realized, I said 2 weeks in a row, Deion is having an impact on college football that I can't remember any other person having in my lifetime. I've never seen anyone draw this many eyeballs and I don't know if it's the sport. I think it's to whenever he and the Buffaloes are on the field. And I will add that his son is playing at a level that it's not even that it's just an elite level. It is that he is answering the call with all eyes on him and doing it in a way that represents, as they say, the Sanders name, but also others that are going to come after him, because we all know the history of a black quarterback in the NFL. And he's standing in the pocket. He is not using his legs. He is picking defenses apart. This kid is is the real deal. He's the real deal. And I'm just so happy to see this success. And they've got a tough schedule ahead of them, but the way that they started out, and to know that this coach came out and made this personal, as Deion and the Buffaloes would say, I'm calling Buffaloes by 60 tomorrow. By
Yeah,
60.
I agree. I actually, yeah, 60, 67, maybe 66, something like that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
11
So,
touchdowns.
so I know you have to run and go pick up your food, and so we don't want you to have any cold food. I want to give you an opportunity. We talked about the podcast stable. you're in the process of writing something to go alongside of this piece here. So we're gonna have some bunkers, music, and energy to go along. How did it feel to be in the space and recording this first time here in this really this is our home. This is what we're going to be doing for a long time. A few different versions of this. What does this feel like? What do you think?
It feels great, honestly. Uh, a lot of my songs that I'm starting to record have been in here for years, so I didn't have the opportunity to record all of them, and now I'm starting to. But even then, I would just put on the instrumental in the car and just rap it to myself like I'm listening to the song, and tweak it here or there, make adjustments this way or the other way. But um, no, it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be even another level up from the One2 Great song. Not because it's a better song, but I think I'm gonna have more time to work on it and make it, what I envision more, and I feel like more time for it. So it's gonna be a big deal when it's time, when it's finally laid out on wax. It's gonna be a big deal.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to us building this. This is something that, as a result of, the changes that have taken place with me and doctor's orders, I've got to go and do something that is more loving, that allows for me to get away from the heavy work that I do, to be in a space with my oldest son, to be able to get his thoughts out into humanity, I would say, and then also be able to benefit from the creativity. I mean, I don't even know if I could have dreamed this up any better. So I'm looking forward to it. I'd say to everyone that's seeing this is the podcast stable. The reason why this exists is so that we can create content and be able to give perspective that that we feel good about, and give that inside of our community of One2Gration. If you're not familiar with One2Gration, it's a space to be able to provide people the right resources, whether it is from a business perspective, whether it is from a personal perspective, whether there's trauma that needs to be addressed, or whether there's purpose that need to be met. We're aiming to make sure that we have those resources readily available. You can learn more about that at www.one2gration.com. And you can also access the community of One2Gration at that website as well. And once you go in, you'll see the multiple channels inside of there. Depending on which package you register for, when you sign in, you will have access to various channels. And the podcast stable is one of those channels. So with that being said, I'm Jeff, TechP. He is, which moniker are you using in this moment?
Cam, just Cam.
Just Cam today. And we want to say thank you for joining. And we will be back to share more at some given point, probably Sunday night. We look forward to it. Peace.